Okay, so welcome to my first video. It's probably not gonna get much views, and probably won't be very interesting to most people, but today I watched a channel's upload about 50 YouTubers losing, how much was it? Losing $1.7 million by doing nothing, by just going along, doing their normal channel stuff, uploading, doing what they're supposed to on YouTube, and then losing all that money just like that. And I decided I wanted to look a little bit further into it, and I've got a website pulled up right here. It's probably not reliable. I don't know though. I haven't done none of this before. The website is called DigiDay. I will put a link in the description. And yeah, let's get into this. So DigiDay exclaims that as Smosh and Clever, I hope I'm saying that right, had just raised a $70 million series B round the previous fall. It was scouting snazzy production facilities to move into Los Angeles, and it had just hired the design firm Collins to redo its logo heading into that spring's new fonts. Now, this probably doesn't tie much into the really topic that I'm going on, but if they just put all that money into a project, and even though they're big YouTubers, probably making plenty of money, that's gonna take a toll. Probably didn't. Out of 50, losing 1.7 million, that's still gonna be quite a bit out of your everyday life. And so a year and a half later, DeFi Media is no more, as the company's creditor has seized its assets, forcing an immediate shutdown of the business. Sorry about that. In some ways, DeFi seemed to be doing the right things. The company was very public about how it wasn't a typical YouTube multi-channel network and actually owned its programming with media brands that young people cared about. Now, that doesn't help the situation at all, because if this company has just affected multiple channels and that they got big groups of people watching them, that's not going to turn out very well. And obviously, even if you can't get contact even if you can't contact DeFi, it's not going to turn out very well. People are going to be upset, of course, not just the YouTube channels. People in their everyday lives, I'm sure, will be upset, and their viewers obviously will. At its peak, DeFi was producing 75 different shows regularly. Regularly. For media properties that it owned, including Smosh and Clever, which again, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, each of these properties also targeted different audiences, with DeFi Media standing as the corporate entity that one former executive described as a Viacom of the internet. And he talked in the YouTuber's video, film theory, or game theory, however you know them as, GT Live, got multiple channels. He talked a little bit about how most media had ideas for as this article says, big ambitions and big backing. This also says that DeFi largely did not own the distribution of its content. For that, DeFi relied mostly on YouTube. The company did 296 million video views on YouTube and 272 million video views on Facebook in September, according to Tubular Labs. Nothing to do with video in there. And while DeFi more recently started experimenting with subscriptions and commerce, the company almost entirely relied on ad revenue, most of which went through YouTube, which took its customary 45% cut. Living off the ad business alone is hard. It's even harder when you need to pay your half to your landlord. That factor, combined with a drier market for digital and social video sellers, as well as mounting debt, proved to be much for DeFi Media. Now, this is interesting. And really, the only reason I'm even bothering to do this video, the only reason I'm throwing up this channel, well, I've already had this channel, but the only reason I'm throwing up videos now is because this honestly bothered me that 50 YouTubers had lost a collection of $1.7 million. And that's thoroughly disappointing that a big out media company could just go bankrupt and cease all payments towards their clientele. And this is just widely a big problem. The story on here, it says, the story is based on conversations with 5 current and former DeFi executives. DeFi Media was a big YouTube programmer across media properties such as Clever, Smosh, and All.me. I hope I said the first and last one correctly. I know I'm saying Smosh right. Well, it may not be, but that's what I hear. The company had built up over 75 million YouTube subscribers and 120 million followers across other social platforms. Now, that's a lot of people. If that's 75 and 120 million people are all separate, that's 195 million people. That's almost a seventh of the race on Earth. Human race, that is, obviously. And for them to shut down and have all those people that were following them and had an interest in them, it's a lot of people to deal with when your business decides to dive under. I obviously don't got no business idea. I don't run nothing. I ain't had no sort of time in business. I ain't worked in nowhere really interesting that would teach me anything about business. So I don't have a lot to put on the business part. DeFi Media's overall business was on track to do more than $50 million in revenue this year. Now that's a big sum of money. That's how much does the average human even make every year? Hold on a second. How much does the average human make per year?
According to Quora, most analysis tools use average household income, which is approximately $51,000. Again, assuming 40 income earning years, the average household will earn $2,040,000. Do Americans actually have...
So, they're making way more than probably a tenth of what the average, well, the average household makes way less than a tenth of that, of what they just cut out with. Find back where I was. So, 60% of this revenue went through YouTube, according to sources familiar with the company, and DeFi's YouTube business includes ads sold directly by DeFi Media, its biggest revenue driver, as well as ads sold by YouTube, sources said. Now, these sources are not listed here. The sources are not spoke of. Doesn't say what the sources is, retired, fired, working at the time when they shut down, outside sources. It doesn't say any of that. More than 80% of DeFi's revenue came from advertising. Sorry about that. Although that wasn't always the case. In 2016, when platforms such as Go90 were actively buying content from digital video programmers, DeFi Media's revenue was split between advertising and non-advertising revenue streams. But as Go90 shut down and other platform buyers pivoted, their content buying strategies, that created a hole that was hard for DeFi Media to plug. And it did not help that more and more digital ad dollars were being swooped up by Google and Facebook. So basically, I mean, this is probably really simple, and I'm probably just going and giving the no-duh thoughts on it. Basically, DeFi didn't always rely on on the people going and wanting to advertise on YouTube for money. They had Go90, which was a media that, or some company that bought media from DeFi and other sources. And DeFi also, that was probably, I'd have to estimate, they probably did 60% of DeFi's revenue. And the rest was probably ads. And then once Go90 shut down, then DeFi had to find other ways to make their money, so they upped their movement on ad revenue. And so they had to quickly switch over to getting ad revenue because they had just lost all that revenue from selling media to Go90. And in quotes from another unknown source, it says, "The reality is that the direct sales side of the business is the most labor and cost intensive. But when that's become an increasingly competitive space and you are competing for a smaller part of the pie, things got out of whack. We had to shut off business plans, profitable units." So I'm going to guess that was probably someone who retired or quit. I might have ended up somebody that was fired, but to me, I know you could probably argue that it might have been someone that was fired. I'm just going to guess it probably wasn't. Earlier this year, DeFi Media sold, this is 2018 talk, unless this is from 2019, but I'm pretty sure this is from 2018. Yes, this article is from 2018. So, early 2018, DeFi Media sold its Screen Junkies property to Fandom, and I'm sure most people have heard of Fandom. It's a big website. And the Escapist magazine to Enthusiast Gaming. Probably should have finished reading that. Doesn't sound right now. So it sold its Screen Junkies to Fandom and the Escapist magazine to Enthusiast Gaming. Excuse me. This came after the company spent millions to build a subscription streaming service for Screen Junkies, sources said. Also, again, does not name the sources. Sadly. DeFi also went through several rounds of layoffs and was down to roughly 100 employees from peak more than 300 employees 2 years prior to 2018. So, in 2016, I'm sure everyone watching this video can do 18 minus 2. Mistakes you make that are write-offs in a big company are catastrophic at a small company, said another unknown source. We didn't do some basic blocking and tackling about where we were spending money and being realistic about what to invest in. Now, basically, at this time, early 2018, they were just being sloppy, and I'm sure this was a big factor in leading up to their dive, their shutdown. They spent a whole bunch of money on screen jockeys and then proceeded to sell them, which I'm sure they did not sell them for enough money to make up for the millions they put into screen jockey. And then they had to lay off over 200 employees because they were low in money. And this unknown source, basically says that they were not being smart about what they were investing in, and they were just putting money in what seemed good, but wasn't a smart investment. Now I'm going to wrap this up by 25 minutes, if I can even post that much. If not, I'll split this video to do 2 different videos. It's probably what I'll start doing. I'll probably have to do that for these types of things. So yeah, here's back to the 50 YouTubers. The move has also left between 40 and 50 YouTube creators in DeFi's multi-channel network with no access to their September YouTube ad payments. According to TubeFiller, DeFi sources said the company's assets were seized on the day it was supposed to pay creators. Last week, which was the week before this article was published, YouTube took the unusual step of rapidly unlinking creators from DeFi's network on the platform, which will allow them to get paid directly from YouTube. Whether creators will ever see their September funds is still unclear. So basically, YouTube massively saved many YouTubers on their network, which I am happy with. I generally sometimes do not like what YouTube does because they are banning people, they're getting rid of people, and they're getting rid of people that are cussing and demonetizing them, but then they're going and they're advertising alcoholism, not actually advertising alcoholism, but they're advertising alcohol products, and I don't understand that. I've seen at least 5 different beers on YouTube's advertisements just within the past month or 2. And I get it, YouTube. Y'all want money, and so you're gonna let the beer companies advertise on your platform. You're a business, and I'm not gonna judge you for that, because if I put out too much opinion on it, I'll probably get in trouble over it. Because y'all probably won't like me. By y'all, I mean YouTube. They'll probably get butthurt, as they have. I'm sure they have already. I'm sure YouTubers have been messaged because YouTube didn't like what they were saying about YouTube. So this article says, the company had a lot of investors, including Zelnick Media, I hope I said that right, Lionsgate, and Viacom, and was more than $10 million in debt. Recent news about the difficulties that still plague digital media companies, prompting the seemingly annual round of fall layoffs, did not help DeFi's prospects at a sale. So, whoever, which, if I'm correct, Disney buying DeFi, I don't think it was Disney, but I forget who bought DeFi, but whoever bought DeFi, I feel bad for them, because now they have to deal with all that debt that they probably didn't even know was there, and they probably have to do some dealing with creators not getting their pay. I'm sure in the future, creators will look at the company that bought them, that bought the DeFi Media, and they'll have to do something about it. So, this article says, the bottom line is that 2018 has been brutal to many new media companies, and DeFi Media isn't the only casualty of new industry headwinds, said Peter Gasafi, I hope I said that right, founder of digital adversary firm Creative. It's not spelled completely, but I'm just going to assume it's Creative Media. And in quotes, it says, Disney just significantly, I'm stupid, sorry, wrote down its investment in Vice Media and other companies such as the Latino-focused MITU have had significant layoffs. So no, I'm sorry, Disney did not buy DeFi. They bought two other companies, and probably a couple others. I know they've bought quite a few. Many of these new media companies still overly rely on Facebook, YouTube, and other social media platforms that are constantly tweaking their ad algorithms. DeFi simply had no chance against those adverse market forces. End quote. Quote, no one saw it coming, said another unknown source. There was always a plan to keep it going. There were a few plans put in front of the bank, some of which would have required them to take a reduction on their loan. Ultimately, the bank said no. And it says Tim Peterson contributed to this story. So this article is written by Shahil Patel. So thank you for this lovely article, if you ever see this video. And so they were trying to get a loan to help keep their company going, to help pay off all this, to help get more workers, I'm guessing, set up more subscription stuff. But the bank didn't let them get a loan, so that just helped lead to their fall and their destruction, their dive. So That's all I got on this so far. If I find anything else that interests me, I'll upload. This video probably won't get much attention at all. I will be putting I'll be putting the link to the Theorists channel in the description. It's the game theory, and I'll be putting the link to their original video in the description. And I hope you all have a good day. Goodbye.